Hi, my name is Ian Lowe. I am the Executive Director for SORCA, Squamish Off-Road Cycling Association. We and the OneUp Components team are excited to bring you the second annual OneUp SORCA downhill race. This race is truly a community effort, and it acts as an important fundraiser for SORCA. And it happens at the end of the year just to make the course even more challenging. And it's the only outlet for downhill riders in Squamish to show off their skills on home turf. This track is roughly 1.1 kilometers in length. Okay, that's not so bad. However, the vertical drop is over 450 meters. The course itself is made up of 3 components. 19th hole, which is a double black, very, very steep technical descent. And that follows onto a trail called Danger, which again is equally as steep, just slightly a different style. The last third of the course is on Free the Speedos. Really, it's holding speed in Free the Speedos, which is the key. And under these conditions, it's even more difficult. So it is steep, it is technical, and the best riders rise to the top. SORCA would like to acknowledge that we are on the lands of the Squamish Ohomeo. It's the Squamish Nation, the lands that they have stewarded since time immemorial, and we hope you enjoy the race.
Hello and welcome to the OneUp SORCA DH race here in Squamish, BC. It's a beautiful fall day. It's October. My name's Tristan Merrick, and I'm joined here with your 2017 World Cup DH champion, Miranda Miller, and local to Squamish. Miranda, how are you doing today?
Oh, Tristan, I'm pretty good.
It's late in the season. Most races are done, and we're here, though, to finish up one big race of the season. Again, your OneUp SORCA race. It's in its second running. All the locals are out in full force, but of course, the main competitor here today is Mother Nature. She's showing up in full force. It's been raining. It's going to be a very tricky and difficult track that the riders are going to have to compete on today.
Kind of just a typical Squamish day, so I don't think too many people will have any issues. Biggest thing is always visibility. But other than that, like, Squamish is honestly pretty good in the wet.
Yeah, it's going to throw every obstacle at our racers there today. Again, long descent. Again, very rainy leading up to it. Very similar conditions to last year. Again, we're going to be kicking things off with our pro women and then going into seeing some of our Groms. And then, of course, pro men will be finishing up the day. And there's some heavy hitters in that start list.
Yeah, so kicking it off with the pro women, our first rider is Ruby Wells.
And then up to the top of our course right now, we've got Ruby Wells dropping in, part of our Da Vinci Development Racing Squad. And Miranda, you can see kind of ominous conditions up there, a bit of fog, lots of water coming down there. But of course, racing that way, it's almost best to point right down the middle of the track where the water's going, because that's where the most amount of traction is.
Yeah, a bit of a follow the river situation. Yeah, as long as you can keep those goggles clear, though, it runs pretty well.
And of course, Ruby having some strong results this year. She's our 2025 Steve Smith Award winner, and as well as our 2024 DH National Champion, BC Cup overall winner. So a weapon out on course there, and you're seeing some different lines getting high over some of the new sections. Again, they've taped things a little different this year, but you can just see how many big routes and steppy steep kind of chutes they have to navigate down here.
Yeah, Ruby's a really impressive rider. She's kind of been on the BC Cup circuit the last couple of years. Most of the time getting fastest time of the day. It's been really cool to watch.
Well, that's what happened here last year. I believe she was in the U19 class, but still posted the fastest time, besting all our pro women. So she's won here before, and we are seeing her work her way down, kind of into the middle part of the course here, coming out of the upper part of 19th hole. And again, the chute right there, getting the high line over the roots, through the pads, and again, all the fans out there just cheering. They're the ones braving the conditions here today. You see the back end stepping out a little bit there. You're kind of just pointing between the roots and hoping it's going to steer you in the right direction with the foot dab.
Yeah, that was the infamous cheese grater back there.
And we're working our way down to the lower part of the course here, and you can just see more and more fans cheering on down through this section of the course, Miranda.
Yeah, they do a really cool kind of reroute here, straightening out the course a bit. And yeah, it's super fun trail, and you just got to kind of keep it loose and pointing straight.
Yeah, Rob Stokes, one of the builders out here, always putting in time, helping bring downhill back to Squamish. And again, right near the bottom here. And then this is that fresh cut section they came in last year. Nice little inside line. And there's no pedaling across the line for this one. Just out of the woods, and you are finished. And you can see lots of mud up and down, but no mud on the side. So looking like Ruby kept it upright the whole way down there with that time of 4:48. Again, some nice slow-mo here, showing it down. This is, as you said, Miranda, the cheese grater, the infamous section that's been around since the trail was built back in the day. It's not a reroute. What you don't see under is pure rocks underneath that mud. But straight back up top to Charlotte Gadbois-Chouette, dropping in right now, another Squamish, BC local.
Yeah, Charlotte is very calm, collected. I've ridden with her a few times, very methodical. Yeah, bit of a smooth operator for sure.
Again, it's hard to pick apart on a track this long exactly all the difference in lines, especially how they tape everything. But she rides for course of cycles and does it for instinct development as well. So again, all these young ladies having good mentorship and leadership with a lot of the coaching programs that are in town. Going that low line there, so not getting up into that rut on the left, but getting over those main part of the roots there. Trying to steer for the wetter, but mud that has less muck to it, I guess, with the consistency.
Yeah, I'm always really impressed with these young riders' ability to just have a super consistent average speed, which makes for good racing.
There we go, taking a different line down the cheese grater, not going to the outside there. And again, Charlotte earlier this year, Canadian National Enduro Championships, she got second place. So she's used to riding both bikes, big and small. You see 15 seconds back, 1 foot out there. Again, how hard is it to clip back in after you dab in the mud like that, Miranda, to get your foot back on and be able to get your body back down the track?
Yeah, I mean, in conditions like this, your shoes are hammered in mud, your pedals are full of mud. You kind of just got to do what you can do.
Yeah, I don't want to refer to it as passenger mode, but it happens in this. And you can see, again, that chute doesn't do justice how steppy it is, how steep it is. And then you're kind of hard on the brakes to come into this right-hander. And again, it's all muddy, all loose, but you can see bleeding a little bit more time there, 27 seconds back. But again, still Charlotte pushing on top to bottom here on this legendary long-time course here in Whistler. Again, 19th hole all the way from top to bottom for our athletes.
Yeah, this track is incredibly physical too. Like, it's a lot of steps which require you to kind of hold yourself up. So yeah, this is a long and physical trail.
There we go. Our riders congratulating each other as they cross the finish line. Charlotte and Ruby right there. Big smiles, the time of 5:36. And full pull top to bottom. And I think that's probably the notable thing is a lot of these athletes, they are riding trail bikes a lot of the time. They do lots of cross training in town here. But here's that steepness you're saying. It's got to get your push-ups in the off season there with those drops every bit of the way down. And right back up top, we got Maya Langdale dropping in. Instinct Development Racing running that plate 111. Again, so much to kind of navigate at the top there. You've been shuttled up to the top of the road. You're dropping in. And as you said, visibility you're dealing with. You're starting to heat up. Cold air temps, so it's not uncommon for the goggles to start fogging up on the inside, which is every racer's worst nightmare.
Yeah, I heard quite a few complaints of limited vision, some sun in the eyes, fogged goggles, but it's all part of it.
You see Maya there getting to that inside line. She got third place here last year in 2024 in pro race, so no stranger to the podium. And if you look through results, again, strong season that she's had here. But we're seeing at that split already 19 seconds back. Again, Ruby Wells putting in a stormer earlier on here today. Coming into the cheese grater section, slowing it down a little bit. This is where we're asking all the fans to come out. And you can see down at the bottom, they're looking for the huckabuck ride. Our racers trying to navigate between the tape and avoid those big orange tree pads there because you don't want to clip one of those. Otherwise, it'll put you on the ground. You can see front tire just skidding all over the place looking for traction.
Yeah, pretty good brake control out of Maya, though, like keeping the wheels moving and kind of letting the bike move a little bit underneath you.
There we go. Another split time. Again, 3:35 right now, 36 seconds back. But like you said, yeah, if you grab too much brake and you lock it up, then you lose all traction. You can see her there feathering the brakes. The tires are still moving as she's trying to keep it in between the tape. And you're seeing lots of different lines, especially this lower section where there's a little bit more of that amazing mud and dirt that we have here in Squamish. She's looking for the lines. And Maya coming down across the line, our final racer of the day with that final time of 5 minutes, 43 seconds, so 54 seconds back for Maya. In third place last year. coming down, slotting in, high fives all around, everybody congratulating each other. These are this really paves the way for our future women as they start to get older and start to race, and if they decide to take their racing internationally, right, Miranda?
Yeah, it's super cool to see how many races they can do now, how many competitors there are. Yeah, they have a lot of the women have a really good scene right now.
I mean, it's grown over the years, and you're seeing that slow-mo through this lower section, and again, just the mud coming off the tires and mud flying everywhere, and they've had to practice all day. But here we go. Here's your pro women's podium. Ruby Wells up at the top spot there, and your OneUp SORCA DH race women's pro podium.
Well, it was kind of like just muddy, and I was just hoping to have fun with my friends. It's like at the end of the season, just a fun race, and it's here local where I live, and I just wanted to have fun.
Well, some words of wisdom for Ruby Wells there. She just wanted to have fun, so she had a good day out there with her friends, and again, storming time of 4 minutes, 48 seconds there, Miranda.
Yeah, fun is fast.
Again, congratulations to Charlotte and Maya as well, rounding out our podium for our pro women's race results.
As the downhill season wraps up and those daylight hours get shorter, you need a night riding option. Technical trails demand focus, and with Outbound's beam technology and unrivaled support, including crash coverage, you can focus on the trail to ride the right lines, not just the night lines. Outbound Lighting is proud to support the Gravity Cooperative in assisting with the exclusive coverage of this race.
All right, starting off with our Grom females coming down the course. Amelie McKay Huck starting things off, our first racer on course here in these muddy, tricky conditions this morning. Again, they start on the lower third of the course, and it's a bit of a mashup of all the racers here, Miranda, because you've got dads that are coming down, you've got the kids passing each other, kids not able to pass, kids crashing. So it's a bit of everything here in these tricky conditions on smaller wheels and smaller athletes.
Yeah, I mean, it's proper chaos out there, but honestly, it's so impressive, these kids' bike control at such a young age.
Well, I mean, I'm going to feel like the old guy here where it's like I look at the kids' bikes that they get to race nowadays, and I wish at that age I had a bike like that. But, I mean, as you can see here with Simon Burpee, he's wanted to go a different line, but still moving forward, just backwards down the chute here. Again, the kids, the skills they learn at such a young age, and I think maybe the beauty of this is they're on that one bike program. They ride the bike park, they ride the DH races, they pedal on it, they're down at the dirt jumps, they're at the pump track, so these kids got a little bit of everything. Raimundo Hidalgo here coming in, keeping it fast and clean through that section, but you can see the bike dancing as it keeps hitting the little roots hiding underneath the mud there.
Yeah, I mean, that was an insane... He carried speed through that so well.
I don't want to say get down there smoother than I would have, but it was a very smooth operator there. And we've got Taj coming down, getting kicked off the side of the bike there. Again, this is that steep chute, and again, these are the first athletes of the day down the course, so they're opening the course. There's new ruts that have formed from practice. There's new puddles that filled up overnight. Taj there, again, we've all experienced that in our racing career, where 1 minute you're up, the next minute you are trying to straighten out the bars on the side of the track with your next athlete, your competitor coming down.
Yeah, he kind of looks like me and Champri, world champs there, to be honest.
Shorts with a bit of mud and the skinny legs sticking out. Is that the style? But Taj is back. He's back on the bike. Again, trying to finish strong here. Rocky Gruel coming in. Again, nice, smooth, letting go of the brakes, getting the drop there. And again, it's impressive to see what some of these young athletes are able to do on the bikes at this age already. But again, most kids are born onto run bikes here in the community.
Oh, the double tripod is my signature move, actually. And I think you just like learn it growing up here.
It's still used to this day sometimes for myself. Sometimes you just have to drop the leg. And here is our podium for our Grom female: Ruby Wong, Alia Egger, and Amelia McKay Huck. Grom males category: Ethan Winter and Maverick St. Ives. Again, amazing podium trophies that were created this year. Nothing like a big sharp chunk of metal. All right, thanks for joining us here for our pro men's, and we're checking out the start list here, Miranda, for your OneUp SORCA DH race. Again, lots of notable local names. We've got World Cup overall winners, lots of talent here.
Yeah, I mean, Elliott's just fresh off a medal at World Champs, Danes Race World Cup, same with Alden. Yeah, it's a list of heavy hitters.
Yeah, and then we got the Quist brothers there, going to be the next generation that's plowing through here in our pro men's category. So again, strong 8, and I'm excited to see what they can do on the course here this afternoon. All right, well, we're getting a look here at Bodie Terrell. He was kicking things off for us in our pro men up at the top. And we're already seeing a considerable change in pace right away out of the gate here, Miranda, with our pro men.
Yeah, dropping in with some oomph. It's a pretty heavy first section, like all those stairs. Yeah, trying to carry your speed through those steps and those corners.
And again, just seeing the aggression out of him right here coming down. And pacing, it, you know, at this level, you can't really pace yourself, but there is no pedaling on a course like this. It's kind of just a push-up challenge the whole way down. How does an athlete mindset change when you're tackling something like this?
Yeah, just because there's no pedaling, like sometimes you almost want to pedal to get a bit of a rest on your arms, where this, like, you're going to be bracing so much with your legs, so much with your arms, it can sometimes be more physical.
Yeah, a big part of trying to stay off the back and try and keep light off your arms, but then also at the same time, you got to get a bit of pressure on that front end because, again, some of these ruts will be going one way and you'll be going the other way. You can see the bike just dancing under Bodie there. And as well, you know, you can tell the light is getting a little darker here compared to some of the other categories. So our athletes are having to navigate this well and get their eyes to adjust to each section of the course. But then it's sunny here as they get down to the lower section.
Yeah, exactly. When it's really low light like that, it's hard to also be looking ahead. It's just super hard to see.
And we can see Bodie there getting loose, kind of G'ing out in the corner and then foot out through that last little bit and then trying to find the clip. And the last little section here, inside line, is the fastest. But as we said, there is no pedaling. There's no pedaling to the finish line. You're just literally out of the gate and down to the bottom. And Bodie setting that benchmark for us with a time of 3 minutes 44.46. Again, we can see that slow-mo as the bike dancing around, going one way to the next, trying to get to that inside line. And you see the suspension working its way through each and every one of those big holes. And back up right now, Jacob Quist. Jacob actually lives right at the bottom of these trails here. So again, these are the used to be the U19 racers that have grown up to learn their bikes on this, and now they're big enough on the big downhill bikes, battling out here in pro men's, Miranda.
Yeah, both Jacob and his brother have a very distinct style. Like, you can tell that these guys have grown up with a lot of coaching, a lot of racing, like textbook style.
We're getting steam off the rear rotor there as they go through that huge puddle. So hard on the brakes, suspension heats up in these conditions, brakes are heating up. You can't really get off the brakes. There's no respite the whole way down. You can see with that first split time, 3.74 back for Jacob as he's working his way down, letting the bike dance a little bit, but then also trying to be aggressive as well, getting over that front end.
In the signature shorts. I feel like he's a big shorts guy. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, big respect. If in muddy conditions you're still running shorts, that's a look it's going for there. So you can see starting to maybe get a little tired there, but still getting that inside line that snakes down from left to right and finding those ruts. And again, you can see the heels dropped on the bike there, trying to keep the pressure on the pedals while working his way, but losing a little bit more time, 9.90 back. Again, length of this course, easy to start losing a second here and there with each dab in a corner.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like he's catching someone, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's always conditions like this. Somebody could have fallen and working their way down slowly. You might catch a competitor in front of you that's having a good run, but you're on a stormer. Always difficult like this. And then full inside right there, straightening out that final section just the way it's taped.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
I mean, that's local knowledge right there. But coming down into second, again, 16.59 back. You can see here through that section, loading up the bike, trying to keep it on the ground. You can pop off that if it's dry, but it ain't dry today for these racers. And right back up to the top, we got Mateo, the younger of the two brothers here, riding for Specialized Canada. And you can see, again, little different style, but really working through those corners, straightening out that section there, kind of popping into the corner.
Yeah, Mateo's very active on the bike. He's a fun guy to watch.
And again, these are the kids that have grown up with, like you said, lots of coaching, lots of access to the older generation of pros that train and ride in the town. And again, the future of Canadian downhill racing here. Again, way different line there, getting inside to inside. And we're seeing him first split already up by 2.36 seconds. So, Mateo, this is his course that he gets to train on in his backyard. This is the regular lap for him.
Yeah, he had some really nice corner speed up there, just carrying, rounding out those turns. No kind of like hard jams on the brakes.
Now, and maybe you can talk about it a little bit, Miranda. Is there more pressure when this is a regular track that you get to race and then or get to ride on, but then all of a sudden it's a race environment? You almost start to overthink it from what you do on a regular lap with your buddies?
For sure. It's hard to race trails that you know because you just know them in one way. So it's kind of hard to look for different lines and think of the fast line, not the fun line.
But yeah, you can see Mateo there, that second split, pulling even more time as he's coming down across the line. And the brothers know that inside there. Nobody else was doing it, but they have got it. So Mateo coming down with 4.9 seconds into the lead. Time of 3:39, gloveless as well. And you can see, like you said, that dynamic kind of style, not going through that S-turn, but getting up and over, getting light there, and then just straightening out the course into that berm where there was some traction. Again, right back up top, doing it for Commacella USA, Alden Pett, again, from Washington State. So always good to see some racers traveling north of the border to come join us here for this OneUp race.
Yeah, I think Alden spends a lot of time in Squamish. I think he lives here now. He's been racing World Cups.
And seeing that, again, dynamic style, you could see he pushed a little bit there, and it looked like the front end slipped and then got spat out the high side coming down out of that corner. Yeah, hard to find the balance of being aggressive when the conditions are like this, Miranda.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of just have to be a little bit loose and let your bike do the thing, but you know, the risk is always that you're too loose.
Yeah, either too loose or you're not riding aggressive enough. It's such a bounce because if you try and take it easy, sometimes that's when things actually go a lot worse than anticipated. But still, hauling the mail down through the cheese grater there.
Yeah, Alden's had a really good year, actually. He's a bit of a weapon in time training on the World Cup, and he's progressed so much over the season. It's been really fun to watch.
Well, Alden was our podium finisher last year. Full tripod to crash right there. I was just going to say he did get third here last year in similar conditions, and maybe feeling a little bit of pressure trying to back that up here again for the second year with a second crash here on his run. But nice little line there popping off to that outside, and then was able to round it out there a little bit. But here we go, full tripod ski moment. Good for the fans. Good for the fans as we hear them yelling. I mean, this is the beauty of a mud race. If it was perfect traction, you don't get any moments like this. But when you get a mud race, you get to see what people can do in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, he didn't back off, you know.
I mean, not bad for only 13 seconds down with two crashes and about maybe a dozen more other close moments. And there we go, getting spat out front end, oversteering as it comes out of that corner and spitting them down there. And we're right back up to the top of the course here. Peter Knott going to drop in for us. Again, he's done well in previous events that we've had here in Squamish and the local races.
Yeah, Peter has done really well in the BC Cup. He's also a sick trail builder. Built some of my favorite trails here in town. So kudos to Peter. Big fan.
I feel like that's always like the unspoken thing around here is like you get to ride all these new trails, but who builds it? You not necessarily get to put a name to the face, but Peter is one of those that slave away in the trails quietly, making riding possible happen for us here. And you can see changing some of the lines there, getting inside, popping out of that main kind of rut a couple different times. And there we go, split one up, as you can see, clearly riding way, way quicker than our previous competitor there, finding some more time.
Yeah, carrying really good speed, and looking comfy, honestly.
Just straighten things out. Obviously, you've got all your lines that you'd hope to hit in the dry, and I think that's maybe kind of the beauty of Squamish a little bit, Miranda, is that even in the wet, a lot of the lines ride similar through a lot of sections of track. Obviously, there's some parts where you have to definitely maybe take some more action, but there we go, still in the green, but he's lost a little bit of time between split one and split two.
Yeah, carrying speed through those ruts pretty nicely, like not getting hung up, kind of able to push through and keep his momentum going forward.
Again, down into the cheer squad section here, but that's always the toughest. You've got a right turn coming up, but you unclip your left foot. There's nothing kind of more daunting when you're trying to get your feet back on, get the bike going the other direction than it's trying to pull you right now. Again, putting one on for the fans there at the bottom as they're cheering down, going wider line, dragging a foot around there, but then straighten it out right to the cross the finish line again. No sprint sections here with that final time coming in the red there, 3 minutes, 41 seconds. So slotting into second place right now. So we saw him up at split 1, up at split 2, and then just losing a little bit at split 3. But here's the cheese grater section that we were talking about. And doing it for OneUp components right now. Plate number 4, Scott Lennard. Up at the top there. Again, we've got some sun, so the sun coming in and out for our racers here today, which, again, providing tricky conditions with dealing with goggles and just the light as well. Looks cool on film for us here, but, again, very difficult as a racer at speed finding the right lines.
Yeah, just creating some shadows and light in your eyes as well. It can be pretty hard and something you don't really think about.
Again, looking smooth on his line choice there. This is the guy that's working in the warehouse, packaging up product Monday to Friday, and then out here racing. So hitting that first split, 11 seconds back. Looking like he's pretty clean. Doesn't look like he's had a crash, but again, on a course like this with the conditions, the seconds do start to add up a little bit if you're hesitant in any corner.
Yeah, he definitely looks smooth, but maybe not quite attacking like some of our other riders are.
Again, getting that inside off the tree stump right there. Scott does look smooth as he's working his way down, but when you're a Monday to Friday worker, sometimes racing on Sunday, the week catches up with you when you're punching the clock 40 hours during the work week.
Yeah, and you gotta race on Sunday, work on Monday, so.
Race on Sunday, sell on Monday. He's going to be packaging up the OneUp products for anybody that's purchasing any, so. There you go, Scott coming down, looking zesty though through the crowd section there. And, everybody always finds that extra gear when there's people on the side of the track to maybe straighten things out, let loose, let go of the brakes a little bit, as we just saw right there.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. A little fatigued, looking like hitting that compression there, but
still looking good coming down through that finish line. Again, probably a sense of relief as you come down with that time of 3 minutes 59. So sub 4 minutes. Into 5th position right there for Scott. Breathing heavy, you can see the mud on the lens of the goggle. Even with fenders and all the technology we have, it's still hard to see out of those clear lenses.
that was pretty nice, the way he was able to kind of push down, keep his bike on the ground, not get too unsettled.
Back up top right now with Elliot Jamieson dropping in next. He's your 2025 Canadian National Enduro Champion, 3rd place EDR World Champs as well. So a list of accolades. He's been having a great year despite starting his season off with a broken hip, Miranda.
I know. Elliot's a mad dog. He actually, I believe he pedaled for all his practice laps up to 19th hole and his race run.
Well, that's it. If you're catching the keen eye, he's on the single crown fork. He's on his enduro bike racing against the big dogs here on their downhill bike. So pedaling each and every lap, which I'm trying to do the math in my head, maybe about 800 meters of vert from top to bottom, or from bottom to top on the course, if we're doing those measurements.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a hoof. And
a bit of a weapon. Again, coming back from injury at the start of the year and then to one of the strongest results. But you can see in that first split, almost 10 seconds back for Elliot. Maybe all those laps of pedaling catching up with him a little bit, or again, riding with the single crown fork. You see him kicking out a little wide there, getting up, getting wild off the roots there in the cheese grater.
Yeah, that was sick. He was able to kind of stay outside on the exit there, which a lot of people were kind of getting pushed to the inside.
Yeah, big guy on the bike, so lots of power, lots of ability to push through, but he's down on travel, front and rear, which would ultimately start to fatigue the body a little bit more, especially for a racer like this that's been racing all year long. It's the end of the season, you start to feel that, you're ready for the off season, you're ready to let the body and the mind relax a little bit and not be between the tape.
Yeah, and I mean, trail bikes nowadays are so capable, but there is just something about that downhill bike. You know, you can just hit these compressions so much harder, just so much more stable that it does add up over a run like this.
Yeah, despite all of us riding trail bikes and they're all 170 mil and we're enjoying them day to day, there is a difference when you do throw a leg over a downhill bike. Again, you get to feel it. But again, Elliot, props to him for bringing his enduro race bike out and putting in battle here on such an amazing, difficult track. So coming down in 7th place right there, 15 seconds back for Elliot Jameson. And doing it also for the local brand 7 Mesh and the Common Cell Enduro team. So you can see that line that you mentioned there, Miranda, getting out a little bit wide and then kind of getting a good send off the roots. And right back up to the top, we got the Canyon Collective rider Jesse Melamed dropping in next. Miranda, I think you know a little bit about this guy and his accolades and what he's done over the years, and not normally see him on a big bike like this.
Yeah, Jesse is crazy because he's been racing for so long, but he's kind of new to the downhill bike. He's coming off 2 World Cups in Lake Placid and Mont Saint Anne, and I mean, if there's someone that can ride a bike and get wild, it's Jesse.
Yeah, I would love to say like, oh, this is just his downhill style on a bike, but this is textbook Jesse style, which is it's wild, it's loose, it's very unpredictable at the best of times, and I think only he can make it work this way. And you can see right there from the first split, he is in touch right now, 1.79 back, so he is on a good run right now because he's been riding that downhill bike quite a bit.
I'm gonna say this is looking kind of calm for Jesse.
That is true. That's true. Maybe he's saving it for the bottom part of the course here where all the fans are. But different line right there. Looked like he kind of rode off the end of the log. So I think he does look a little in passenger mode a little bit.
I think that's just the signature Jesse bowling ball.
Yeah, I mean, little guy, big bike, everything. Get out of my way. I'll ride right over it. And that's he's never one to doubt on being hesitant and full commitment with any of his line choices or how he's riding the course.
Yeah, Jesse has the ability to do things on a bike that honestly no one else can.
I mean, that's what's made him the 2022 Enduro World Champion, and he's also a 2-time Canadian Enduro Champion as well. So good to see him out here on the big bike, straightening things out there, coming across the line. Let's see what that final time says for him. 3:39 in the green, so that is our new leader right there, Jesse Melamed, with that time at 3:39. So finding some time as he's coming back, but you can see the fog on the goggles. You got the GoPro on there. He's got kind of everything. So yeah, nice little slow-mo, as you can see, getting into that rut and going kind of inside to inside on that before slapping out of there. All right, we've got our last racer on course right now. Doing it for Giant Factory Off-Road Team, Dane Jewett. Born and raised here in the Squamish area. So got second last year in the 2024 race, and we can see a considerable amount of pace out of him already, Miranda.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Danerbaum fan. Again, very active on the bike, really fun rider to watch.
I mean, strong campaign this year at Crankworx World Tour and the Whistler Stop, doing really well. Tough season, first year in elites for the World Cup, failing to qualify, and he always seemed to be kind of on the wrong second, a couple seconds back from Q1 and Q2, but you can see this is a track that him and his brother Jacob Jewett ride and practice on a regular basis, both on the same team, and Dane just absolutely putting in time there. There we go, first split in the green, 5 seconds up here already, and you can just see different lines, a lot of commitment, seeing this is what World Cup DH pace looks like.
Yeah, and he may not have qualified, but he's been so close, and World Cup racing is like the gnarliest it's ever been, and both Dane and Jake are right there. And I think, yeah, first year elite, this was the hardest year to be first year elite, and honestly, yeah, they're killing it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, they're kind of just on the wrong side of a second is all that was been keeping them out of the main show, but you can see their split number 2 adding to that 7 seconds and change, and just getting out of the main rut, kind of rounding things out, and you can see he's actually got a rotor guard on the front of the bike there, which is a lot of the World Cup teams use when they're dealing with mud like this to keep those rotors dry so there's no mud, and then still getting that consistent brake traction. But he's coming down towards the line here Gonna have to wait, see what this time says for Dane Jewett. Again, Stormer on the way down, green and 1, green and 2, and coming across the line with that 3:27. So into first place there, almost 12 seconds ahead of the nearest competitor, Miranda.
Yeah, I think he was the first person I saw toss a couple pedal strokes.
Yeah, again, looking at that body style, he's got some height to him. He's grown a lot in the last couple of years. And you can see the bike going one way, and he's got those long legs to be able to change the body and get that center of gravity exactly where he wants it. But almost getting caught out there with that muddy corner. All right, and there you go. There's your OneUp SORCA DH Pro Men's Podium. Dane Jewett taking home that #1 spot with Jesse Milliman in second. Again, congrats to all of our competitors out here today.
After the season's done, I always kind of just want to lay back and chill for a little bit, but it's always such a fun race to do. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I have to race at home because it's just so sick, and having a crowd and having you guys here film, like, it's crazy. So yeah, I mean, conditions were not ideal, but all the trails here run pretty good in the wet. So yeah, it was still a fun race.
And there we go. There is our pro men's race results. Dane Jewett in that #1 spot. Jesse Milliman in second. Mateo Quest in third spot right there. Your 1, 2, 3. And again, strong results from all of our competitors here today, Miranda.
Yeah, shout out to Mateo. Just getting piped by Jesse there. I believe he's still junior.
I mean, I think that's the bigger battle. The kids are coming, is what I keep hearing from a lot of the older pro athletes that reside in Squamish. They know that the kids are knocking on the door, and I think that is that exact result right there, where Mateo is only a bit of change back from a seasoned racer like Jesse.
Oh yeah, the kids are here.
Again, congratulations to all of our competitors coming out here today and doing battle with the conditions that they were dealt with here again.
Well, that's a wrap on the 2025 OneUp SORCA downhill race here in Squamish. I'm Mangler from the Gravity Cooperative, and on behalf of myself and our crew, we want to give a huge thanks to all the volleys, our course filmers, the SORCA staff, and of course all the spectators that helped make this an amazing weekend. And a big shout out to all the racers that braved the elements. We had 20 Groms rip the lower course, and 67 racers tackle the full course after a wet 2 days of rain and exciting riding conditions. Keep an ear out for announcements on next year's OneUp SORCA downhill race, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Good work, Dave. Hey, boy. Yeah, you too. Cheers.